So there is another issue that we face with the students on a daily basis when they ask for the applications. Due to misconceptions and the deadlines that there are for different countries, they often get confused. So let's talk about UK. When should one make an application for a bachelor or a master in UK?
Okay. So what you mean to say is, what I have understood by your question, that the students do not have a proper understanding of the application process.
Yes.
They do not know the deadlines and the timeline of the application process. Yes?
There is
Okay.
a lot of misconceptions by hearing everywhere, like for example, they hear from someone that you can apply in 1 week, you can take your admission in 1 week, and issues like those.
Okay, I understand. Right. So the application process there are a lot of deadlines. Okay, so we have to understand the application process first. The first thing is you have to submit the application with all of the required documents. Having said that, when we talk about the requirements, yes, you have to fulfill the language requirement and you have to fulfill the educational requirement. So you have to provide your degrees and your certificate. You have to, in fact, provide all your education documents, but you can provide your IELTS or TOEFL certificate later on. So you don't have to fulfill the language requirement when you're making an application. But when you're making an application, you have to provide all of your educational documents. Now, when you have applied, when you have submitted your application, normally the university takes around 3 days to review your documents. As in the quality of the document, probably if the document is not pixelated, all four corners can be seen in the document if the file is not corrupt. So they just review the document in the initial stage. And then after 3 days, then they will say, okay, that's fine. We have received your application and now your application is in the queue. After 3 days, normally the university takes around 4 to 6 weeks to issue the offer letter. That is the standard time. But that does not mean the university cannot or will not issue the offer letter before 4 weeks. We have seen on so many occasions that university can, in fact, or has, in fact, issued an offer letter in 2 weeks. But on the basis of that exceptional, we cannot just expect every offer letter to come within 5 to 7 days. So we have to keep in mind that the deadline is around, or the cooking time for the university is minimum 4 weeks. Let's just suppose we submitted an application on the 1st of March. We should expect an offer letter by the first week of April. Now, once we have received an offer letter, the offer letter always come with a condition. Even though you have fulfilled all of the requirements, let's suppose you have provided your IELTS certificate, you provided all of your education documents, even the unconditional offer letter has got one condition, and that condition is the condition to pay. So technically speaking, unconditional offer letter still has got the condition. Now, if it is not an unconditional offer letter, let's suppose you did not provide your IELTS certificate. So on the conditional offer letter, you would see the student would have to provide their IELTS certificate. Probably they would have to provide their documents again, because sometimes the university would say, we're not happy with your personal statement. We can see you're eligible for the course, but this statement of purpose or the letter of motivation, it's not up to our standards. Or they would say, can you provide your academic reference letter again? Again, they can make administrative mistakes as well. So you can expect anything on the offer letter. Let's suppose there's an unconditional offer letter. They do not require all of that. It's still the condition on a unconditional offer letter would be to make a payment. So let's suppose on the 1st of April, you got the offer letter which had conditions on it, that you had to provide your IELTS certificate, and let's suppose you had to provide your your bank statement, or you had to provide your academic reference letters. And let's suppose in a perfect scenario, you had your IELTS certificate. Yes. Now, when you had your IELTS certificate, you provided them all of the documents. To just expect the university to take another 10 to 15 days. You have to consider one important factor, that the universities, they're not accepting international student application from just one country. not from Albania, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, you name it. They're getting applications from all over the world, and there are thousands of applications. How is it possible that a university can process the application when they're saying that they're going to take around 4 to 6 weeks? How is it possible for them to provide offer letters to everybody within a week? It's not possible. It's practically not possible. Yes.
Misconception that it's great.
Exactly. So it can happen, but sometimes it does, but you cannot just on the basis of um one occasion that it happened, we start promising the clients, or we start promising the student that it will happen all every time, and all the time it doesn't happen that way, unfortunately. So after you have submitted your documents, the conditions on the offer letter, it takes 15-20 days. When you have provided all of the documents, then they will give you an unconditional offer letter. On that unconditional offer letter, again, the condition is to make the payment. Now, when you make the payment, of course, you have to arrange for the funds. And, let's just suppose you've got funds available in your bank account. You go to the bank. The bank takes around 7 working days to transfer the money with the demand draft. Even you can make the payment with the credit card, but it takes around 2 to 3 days with the credit card as well. Before going further, I would stop here. There is another important information that students they normally do not know, and they are so anxious about their application. Anybody can make a payment for you. They don't have to be in your country of residence. Let's suppose you're living in Albania, or you're living in Pakistan or Bangladesh or India, and your uncle is living in America. The university is in the UK. Your uncle in America can make the payment. No questions asked. It does not have to come from your bank account.
Okay.
So as long as you have made the payment to the university would take another 7 to 10 days. Once they have acknowledged the payment, that they have received the payment, the next process is then they will invite you for a precast interview. Now, what is a precast interview? Now, a precast interview is an interview conducted by UKVI on behalf of the university. So even though the university will invite you for the interview, either they're going to send you a Zoom link, and a person will be interviewing you, or now they have got softwares. So they'll send you a link. You will see a question on your screen. You will sit there. You have to show your passport, and then you have to read the script, the question, and then you have to give an answer. Then you press record, and that's how the interview goes. It is normally a 10 to 15 minutes interview. And once you submit the interview, after, again, you can get an answer within 24 hours. Again, you can get an answer within 15 days. It really depends. So you just have to be very patient about your application. Once you have passed the interview, then you have to wait another 15-20 days to get your admission letter, which is called a recast letter. And then you apply for a student visa. And even before the precast, when they invite you for a precast, the requirement is you must have paid your fees, and you must have funds available in your account. Either the funds are in your own personal account, and the funds should be for minimum 28 days. If, let's suppose, on the 15th of June, they ask you to provide the bank statement, and you deposited the money in your account on the 1st of June, even though you have got the money available, even though you have got the balance, the required balance, but you deposited the money 15 days ago, you cannot provide the bank statement on the 15th of June, because the university is going to advise you to wait another 13 days, because the requirement is the funds have to stay in your bank account for minimum 28 days for the bank statement to mature, or for you to be able to provide in the bank statement. That is the requirement by the Home Office. So once you have provided them the bank statement after 28 days, then they will invite you for the precast interview. And then once you have got the admission letter, then you can apply for the visa with the same bank statement. And once you got the visa, then you can go. So let's suppose you applied in March, you got the offer letter in April, then you had to fulfill the requirements all the conditions of the offer letter. Once you have fulfilled the conditions of the offer letter, then you have to fulfill the financial requirement of the offer letter. Once you have fulfilled the requirements of the offer letter, the funds, you have to show that the funds has been available in your bank account. Fair enough, if you had the funds from the day one when you had the application submitted, then it is a straightforward case. But let's suppose you had to put the money in later on because you were waiting for the offer letter. You were not sure whether you're going to get the offer letter or not, and then once you've received the offer letter, then deposit the funds in the bank account. So then you would have to wait a little extra. So March and April to May. Once you've done that in May, then you would have to wait as well, because you have to consider the fact that the university has got deadlines. They have got windows.
Yes.
So the university has got window for the offer letters, then the university has got windows for the conditions of the offer letter, and then the university has got the windows for the precast. It's not like I fulfill the requirements of the universities in January for a September intake, so I should expect the university to interview me for a precast in February. It does not happen. The deadlines normally for a September intake is around the first or second week of June, and even the late deadlines is maximum up to 15th of July. The university normally starts interviewing students from the 1st of July or the first week of July. So even though you have fulfilled all of the requirement, even though you have done everything from March or February or even January, you can, for September intake, you can start making application from January, February, so you can have an early offer letter. And I would suggest, the earlier the better, but still you would have to wait that long. The last minute application that you can make is somewhat around in June or even July, but probably 4, 5, or 6 universities would be there who would be the applications very last minute. And it's not just like those universities are the ones who accept late every year. It's not the case. These universities who could not fill the capacity of that particular course in that particular intake. Now, to fill that capacity, they're still accepting applications. It's not a hard and fast rule that they're accepting application for bachelor's in every, or they have got late deadlines for bachelor's of finance every year, or they're accepting engineering students every year till July. Really depends. If they have got bachelor's in finance, they filled out the capacity in June, they're going to close the applications in June. For some universities, even in March, let's suppose University of Westminster, University of Brunel, these universities, sometimes they close their applications as early as February and March, because they have got so many applications coming from international students from all over the world. They have to close down their application window because they know they have got a capacity of 500 students and they have got received around 30,000 applications. It's just a waste of time. Just keep on accepting the applications. For UK, you have to do 4 to 5 months. The students who are coming in July and they're saying, the other consultants are telling me they can do the application. Unfortunately, I mean, if they can do it, we can do it as well. It's just a standard requirement. There are no personal favors in our field of work, because university, they have got like thousands and thousands of applications. If they start giving favors to one consultant, you would have to give favors to every consultant, and it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you for your answer. This answer helps a lot of our students to understand the procedures and to understand the required time in the university. To keep in mind that they will be meeting all the deadlines and everything is done correctly.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.